What's up guys, Handish here, and today the Heroic Menagerie has gone live inside of Destiny 2. And so we're going to jump in and talk about it. Firstly, we'll touch on the loot that you can get, and that includes the reprised class swords, a new emblem, a ship, exotic catalyst, and fully masterworked weapons. So we'll cover all of the rewards, but then we'll break down the encounters, how it all works, as well as a few tips and things that you'll need to know. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, a like rating really helps me out, but otherwise, let's jump straight into it. So first up, thanks a lot to my clanmate Hewlin, has an absolute ton of runes and stuff available, so I jumped on his account, assuming we might be doing some combination hunting, but it turns out, for the moment, combinations don't appear to be key to heroic loot, at least not in any other capacity to how they normally are. We're going to talk loot first, but I should mention, Heroic Menagerie does require a pre-made fire team, so matchmaking isn't available. Definitely bear that in mind. We'll cover more about the encounters in a moment, but considering this is fairly difficult and you need to put a fire team together, you may be wondering, what's in it for me? Now, in terms of rewards, initially, Masterwork rolls of weapons can drop inside of Heroic Menagerie. They are, however, not the curated rolls of weapons at the moment, so basically they're random rolls that are fully masterworked. They drop consistently on the first clear that you do, presumably you'll be able to get one each week, and just like the powerful rewards, they will drop based on the first thing that you craft with the Chalice of Opulence. So you can see right here, I get a randomly rolled Ostringer, and obviously you can get the god rolls, but these are not the curated rolls, and I'll have to keep you posted if there is a discovery about those. But otherwise, in terms of loot, you can also get the class swords from year 1. Now these are reprise versions, and to actually get them, they will drop randomly when you kill the boss. So these aren't dropping from the chest, but anytime that you kill the boss, you get a chance to get one, and they do drop specifically for the class that you are playing on, and you still have to kind of use them exclusively on that class. And so firstly, we have the Throne Cleaver for the Titan here. And counterattack is one of its unique bonuses. Guarding while receiving damage will grant a damage buff for 5 seconds. The Gold Tusk is the Hunter variant. It is the only sword outside of Striker's Sure Hand that can get surrounded, but it's also able to get energy transfer, and guarding while receiving damage will generate class ability energy. The Warlock gets the Death's Razor. It's capable of getting energy transfer as well as counterattack, and so all of these swords do have some unique properties, but once again they are class specific, and they're not associated with the chest, but drop randomly when you take down bosses. Now something else that you can acquire randomly in Menagerie Heroic would be the ship. So the Emperor's Chosen ship is an RNG drop. It does come specifically from the chest, so if it drops, it's going to drop alongside a piece of loot that you're invoking from the Chalice of Opulence. And so opening the chest multiple times in one run does give you multiple chances to acquire the ship. And yes, that whole loot farm is still a thing that you can do. Otherwise, there is an emblem that you're guaranteed to get on your first clear right here, and the Izanagi's Burden Catalyst is actually a guaranteed drop if you fully upgrade the Chalice of Opulence before you run Heroic Menagerie. So once you have the maxed out Chalice, whenever you run Heroic Menagerie, you're going to be guaranteed to get this dropped, and it does require 500 kills to actually upgrade, and the perk on the Catalyst will increase the damage of owned edge shots. And according to early reports of that, a 4 stack of owned edge with the Catalyst upgraded will grant roughly a 20% damage increase. And so for now, that pretty much rounds up what you can get in terms of loot from Heroic Menagerie. Masterwork rolls on weapons, the class swords randomly from the boss, the ship randomly from the chest, the Izanagi Catalyst if you have a fully upgraded Chalice, and the emblem, but otherwise you can farm loot in very much the same way in here. You know, I think some of the drops are interesting. If the swords are weapons that you want to pick up, or the Catalyst specifically, really, the Heroic version does have a smaller loot table, but it's kind of used to get some specific drops, so let me know your thoughts about it down below, and whether it's something that you'd be interested in running. But now for the Heroic Menagerie mechanics. The Heroic mode will feature specific fixed modifiers each week, and every week it does appear that we will get a kind of different order of encounters that is fixed. And this first week we do have Iron, Blackout, and Void Singe as the modifiers, so it certainly isn't a walk in the park, and Extinguish is always active on Heroic Menagerie, and that means if everyone on the team dies, you will go to orbit, and even if you're at the final boss, just like in the Nightfall modifier, you will still go to orbit if the entire fire team wipes. Bungie do say that the modifiers are per boss, and so we will likely see pretty difficult modifiers in general for this. And something else to know when you're running this is that encounters never actually repeat, so if you fail to reach 100% progress by the time that you've done every encounter once, you will also be returned to orbit. Recommended power is 740, but as we know it does scale all the way up to 770 power. And in terms of strategy, there are only so many tips I can really give for this because mechanically there are no real changes, and so the focus ends up being on survivability, especially with enemies up to 770 power in the same volumes as you'd see in the normal mode. And of course these guys have a lot more health and do a lot more damage, so you'll definitely want Tethers and Warlock Well of Radiance. You'll want multiple of these on the team really. And as I mentioned, there are no specific encounter changes in Heroic, but this week with Voidburn and a bunch of Vex, bosses in particular are pretty lethal, so definitely drop those wells in encounters where you end up being focused by bosses and ads. Of course you're going to need that for bonus damage, but also survivability. And try to generally keep your ad clear nice and tidy because that's really your main concern. Enemies are pretty dangerous in Heroic, and depending on the modifiers, encounters, especially boss encounters, can be fairly lengthy, so survivability is really important. Since you'll be jumping in with a fire team, again, make sure you have those wells and tethers, but also Titan Bubbles or Sentinels are pretty good at the moment, especially with Void Singe, but otherwise, this is very much a kind of attritional PvE meta set of encounters going on here, and you'll need to be set up for that kind of accordingly. If you have any other tips for folks jumping into Heroic Menagerie, be sure to drop them in the comment section below. As I mentioned, there are some specific Heroic Menagerie triumphs. The Short-Handed requires you to complete Heroic Menagerie with a fire team of 3 or fewer. Go Speedrunner Go requires a Heroic Menagerie completion with time on the clock. And then there are 3 triumphs to defeat each of the bosses without any fire team members dying. And of course those are required for the new title and stuff like that. But otherwise, that's most of the stuff I wanted to round up in this video. I'm gonna leave some gameplay right here of the final boss encounter. Gives you a better idea of how tanky a lot of the stuff in here is. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts about Heroic Menagerie and all of the rewards down below in the comment section. And if you've enjoyed this video, a like rating really helps me out. If you are new around here, be sure to hit subscribe to see everything related to Destiny 2, guides, news, and all of that good stuff. But for now, I appreciate you tuning in as always, and whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.
You were more than worthy of my menagerie today. But your endurance over time will prove your true value.